Welcome to the March 5th, 2026 board meeting for the Rutherford County School System. We will be opening the meeting with a brief moment of silence or prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance in the United States flag. No one is required to participate or be present for any of these, and being in this portion of the meeting is completely voluntary. Before I hand it over to you, Ms. Sharp, apparently Rutherford County Schools lost someone very near and dear. Butch, could you let us know who passed away?
Yes. Miss Ann McCraw, she was a very close friend of mine and a very close friend of most of the people who work for Rutherford County Schools. Ann's been a long-time educator for Rutherford County Schools. She was a great teacher. She was the district testing coordinator. She was the district safety and professional development. She ran the teacher center and professional development for so many years. That's one of the reasons that we've got such a great school system is because of the professional development. Taught our folks how to teach, how to get it done. She passed away on yesterday, and she didn't have much of a battle. She found out she had cancer a short time ago, and she went through radiation, and I think her body just couldn't tolerate it. And but please remember her thoughts and prayers for the family. She's got a daughter and a husband, Jay, again, she's just a very, very special person. So,
thank you, Butch. Now, Ms. Sharp.
Thank you. If everybody will pray with me. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First up, we have the approval of the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Ms. Sharp, sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have 7 that are signed up for public comments tonight. And when I call your name, I ask you to please go to the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes. The first is up is Tony Ketzer. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Hello, Rutherford County School Board. My name is Tony Custer, a resident of Laverne. My wife and I have lived in Rutherford County for 10 years. I have an 11-year-old that went 1st through 3rd and an 8-year-old that went kindergarten readiness through 1st at our zone school. We were thrilled to find out that American Classical Academy was coming to Rutherford County. It kept us from moving out of the county to find better schools and avoid constant rezoning. We have been involved with ACAR from their first day of classes. There were some things shared here on February 19th that do not tell the entire story. The information shared was as of the end of the 24-25 school year. As a parent listening to the cold facts, it bothered me because that's not the school I see and experience on a regular basis. I also know that many of the things mentioned had been resolved prior to the February 19th meeting. ACAR has a board of directors that work diligently, tirelessly, and selflessly to see the school succeed. I am thankful to hear that Dr. McCann mentioned several times that the ACAR board of directors was always very responsive. The things shared that were areas that need to be addressed by ACAR had been taken up by the board. They brought on an additional employee to help with those things. They made the difficult decision to ask for the resignation of a beloved head of school, and this came with a lot of anger pointed in their direction. They listened to parents, faculty, and staff. They heard the needs and have been partnering with them to ensure the continued culture at the school and the positive steps the school is making. I'd like to address the testing concerns that received a lot of attention during the meeting. At one point, one of the board members here was concerned about those students coming into RCS schools and how that would then impact their scores. I would ask that board member, where do you think these students came from? What school district do you think it is these students were attending prior to transitioning to ACAR? These students had parents that saw they were not getting what they needed at their Rutherford County school and decided to give ACAR a chance. There are things you cannot measure with a test that they are learning and the things you would see if you visited the school. I would encourage you to visit with ACAR, come see the kids, the confidence, the pride, and the motivation to succeed. They are engaged and working hard to catch up and be better. We are thankful for those that come from the southern areas of Rutherford County because it is a great burden for them and it is proof of how great this school is. They travel I-24. They give up 45 minutes to an hour of their day each morning and each afternoon to get their kids to this school instead of their zoned school. I hope the presence of these parents and students tonight shows you how much we love this school. The ACAR Board of Directors, administration, faculty, staff, and parents are wholly devoted to the success of this school. Thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for hearing us, and we look forward to the continued improvement and growth at ACAR.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Jason Cole.
Good evening. I'm Jason Cole. I'm the mayor for the city of Laverne. Tonight I'm here not just as a city official, but as a parent and a concerned neighbor who cares deeply about the future of every one of our children in this county. Laverne is built on a motto, which is honoring our past and building for our future. Today, I believe that we have a unique opportunity to do both by continuing our support for ACAR right here in Rutherford County. We all know Rutherford County is growing at a breathtaking pace. The North is on fire with growth. With that growth comes a diverse set of needs in our traditional public schools while doing a fantastic job. We also know with that, it's not a one-size-fits-all for approach for every family. ACAR offers something distinct, a classical liberal arts model that focuses on the good, the true, and the beautiful. It prioritizes phonics, Latin, and a deep dive into foundational documents of our nation. By supporting ACAR, we're not taking away from our existing schools, but we are adding new tools to the education toolbox. We are giving Laverne parents and Rutherford County parents a choice that keeps them and their children invested in our local community. From a city leadership perspective, ACAR is a win for the development side. They took a vacant building on Ingram Boulevard and transformed it into a vibrant center of learning. When businesses move to Laverne, they ask about two things: infrastructure and education. Having a high-quality, tuition-free charter option makes our city more attractive to families and professionals. It signals Rutherford County as a place of innovation and where we have different paths and experiences for education. But beyond the economics, it's about character for the future of our citizens. You can see many of them here. These children are our future for this community. And we want students who graduate not just with high scores, but with the ability to think critically, act compassionately, and understand their role in a free society. I want to thank this board for all of the support for ACAR, for the oversight. I know the road to having a charter school is complex. It's controversial to a degree, but the results are children who are excited to learn and parents who feel empowered that they have a choice in their education. I urge you to continue to stand with our parents for the mission of ACAR as they expand to serve more grades in the coming years. Let's keep building a future where every student in Rutherford County has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Danielle Nadeau. Okay. We have Susan Sealing.
I'd like to thank all of you for all you do for our students and our teachers and the families here in Rutherford County. Wanted to start with that. I know it's a lot of work and selflessness that goes into what you do. I watched the February 19th board meeting a few nights ago, and what I was struck with was I just saw a lot of metrics from last school year. The charter schools seem to be kind of a thorn in many of your sides, a project that was shoved onto you that you don't particularly like or want because they make your jobs more complicated, and there are many variables outside your control. But charter schools are nothing new to the public education system. They've been around since the early 2000s in the United States and since the early 1990s in the US and the early 2000s in Tennessee. These are just new to Rutherford County, and they aren't going away. My older children were a part of a charter school in California that began 3 decades ago. That charter school also endured a lot of pressure and backlash from their school district, and what they ended up doing was starting their own school district full of charter schools, and that's still going on very successfully today. I tell you all this because I want to give you a fresh perspective on charter schools. I want you to think of them as startups. I've been involved in a lot of startups over my career, and I have learned a few things over the years. When you start something new, it takes time to work out the kinks. You make your most educated guesses and start it with a set of plans, and those plans quickly get thrown away and outdated because once they meet real-life experience, that's not failure, that's not incompetency, that's learning. And what I see here in this boardroom and in all these charter schools is a lot of learning. You can see that evident even in the metrics that you'll see in the 2026 school year. Regarding the low enrollment, my son was a student in Salem Elementary in Murfreesboro when it launched. Even in a new school within a well-established school district in a populated area full of subdivisions, that school took 3 years to fill. I chose ACAR because it provides a classical education in a public school setting, learning about the good, the true, and the beautiful, the thoughts that created our nation and defined the history of our modern world. I want my son to have the deep education that inspires Socratic discussion and critical thinking. The curriculum at ACAR is second to none. The teachers are a collection of some of the most inspiring, kind, and well-educated people I've ever met. Their passion for learning is contagious. I am smarter because my son attends ACAR. The community that has formed there in under 2 years is beyond special. I'm here to strongly urge the board to come visit the schools and support them. Move beyond the metrics into actual life. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to public education or any education. The charter schools offer options kids are looking for and need, a different approach than what traditional public schools offer. I urge you to see the charter schools as a gift to the children of our county.
Thank you. Next, we have Isaac Sealing.
First, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight. I'll be telling you why ACAR is so important. I'm very well aware that several of you in this room even dislike ACAR. I will explain where you are wrong in thinking that. Let me present my case first with a quote from Aristotle. He once said, "Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all." And what I'd like to point out about ACAR is ACAR does not only teach the mind, but also the heart to make more well-rounded people and citizens of this United States. At ACAR, we strive for excellence in our studies and at the virtues. 1 day of learning at ACAR is equal to 50 at any other school I attended. At my old school, it did not matter if I missed a day at school because we learned 2 or 3 things a week. But at ACAR, we learn a lot every single day. It pains me to miss even 1 day of learning at ACAR. And also, everyone at ACAR is connected and knows each other, and there's a great sense of community at ACAR, unlike any other public school I attended. So by going against ACAR, you are not only missing out on a great opportunity, but you're also throwing away true, deep, content-rich education. If that does not make you realize how much it matters to us as students of ACAR, if you still don't understand how good it is to have ACAR, you should personally come to ACAR to see how awesome ACAR is. Because ACAR is such a life-changing school, I cannot even scratch the surface of how amazing it is. And as we say at ACAR, I will do the good, I will learn the true, I will love the beautiful. May God bless you, and may you all have a blessed night.
Thank you. Next, we have Bellamy Greer.
Hi. name is Bellamy Greer, as you already know. I am a student at American Classical Academy of Rutherford, and I would like to invite my fellow American Classical Academy Rutherford students here tonight to recite our mission. The American Classical Academy Rutherford student. The mission of American Classical Academy Rutherford is to train the mind and develop character in students through a content-rich classical education, utilizing instruction as a student virtue. Thank you. Now I would like to recite a piece of literature that every sixth grader at American Classical Academy Rutherford had to memorize this year that helps serve the purpose of our mission. If, by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, or if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and everything in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Naomi Fick.
Hi, my name is Naomi Fick. I'm 10 years old and going into 6th grade. I have played cello for 2 years and I love music. I'm here today to talk to you about adding orchestra programs to Rutherford County middle and high schools. I found out there are a total of 52 schools in our county, but only 2 offer orchestra programs. Both of those schools are magnet schools with limited numbers of seats. This means that not everyone has the same access to orchestra. Many school districts have orchestras in their middle and high schools. Here are a few reasons why orchestras should be added to our schools. Number 1, performing with a group teaches teamwork and helps build confidence. Number 2, learning a string instrument develops discipline and patience. Number 3, students who participate in band or orchestra are less likely to do drugs and more likely to graduate high school. Number 4, did you know that playing music can even reduce stress and anxiety? Here's some other data I found. A U.S. Department of Education study found that students in the Performing Arts program had better attendance, fewer disciplinary issues, and improved on-task behavior relative to comparison to students. In the future, the most valuable work skills will be those that machines can't yet perform, such as collaboration, creativity, abstract thinking. These are all skills that students gain while playing in orchestra. I believe all Rutherford County and middle and high school students deserve a chance to experience playing string instruments with an orchestra. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next, we move to number 6, the RCS difference.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are here and we have many young artists here with us tonight to celebrate the arts in our schools. And I think it's appropriate that this is the first time we have called this segment the RCS Difference, because the arts in our county truly are one of the biggest things that make us different and wonderful. We have great programs in our schools. You see here under our logo that we go by the values of excellence, creativity, and community, because those are the things that the arts provide for students in ways that other content areas simply don't. If we are in a high school math class, a 95% on a test is a real good job. In band, it's a pretty good starting point, because we are going for 100% on that concert and that audition, and it teaches our students to have dedication and to strive for their best. Creativity. Many of the visual artists here tonight had to come up with an idea, to generate an idea on their own, to decide what kind of tools they were going to use it, to make a plan, and to decide if what they created fit that plan or not, and adjust. So creativity is something we do in the arts that just doesn't happen as well in other content areas. And community. In a world that is increasingly digitalized, band, choir, putting on a musical, those are things that bring our students together in community with one another and to share with their community that just doesn't happen other places. So these are things that the arts truly provide for our students that they really don't get anywhere else. And the reason we're talking about this tonight and have these young artists with us tonight, March is the Everything Arts Month, Music in Our Schools Month, Theater in Our Schools Month, Dance in Our Schools Month, and Youth Art Month. So we're here to celebrate that. If you're the kind of person that loves musicals, you might want to celebrate at a musical this week or next week, because just about all of our high schools are putting on a musical within the next 10 days. There's always a calendar of events on the RCS Fine Arts website if you want to go check it out and see where those great events are happening. Something we can celebrate in Rutherford County Schools that makes us different from other districts, we provide instruction in all 5 art forms. In music, and within music, a variety of music. We do have band, choir, guitar, piano, lots of different types of music, even digital music creation for our students. Theater, visual art, dance, and media arts. So students in this school district don't have to choose between things or find something that doesn't really fit them. Every student's passion is different, and here in Rutherford County, we make sure the students have opportunities where they are most interested. We are also fortunate 100% of our elementary students have access to regular music and visual art instruction with teachers who specialize in those areas. That sets the foundation for middle school and high school, where they can branch out into the more specialized areas. I'm going backwards. Just a quick look at some of the achievements this year. You can see the hundreds, literal hundreds of RCS students who have achieved regional, state, and national recognition this year for vocal music, instrumental music, theater, and the visual arts. This comes from great instruction that's happening in our schools with our teachers preparing these students for the rigors of these auditions, of these art shows and submissions, and they are doing fantastic work. And this is not even to mention all the individual student honors, all the school honors. For instance, Rockville Middle School just yesterday was named a Arts-Rich School of Merit in the state of Tennessee. We see these things all the time because of the great work that our folks are doing in the arts. And so tonight we are here to celebrate these visual artists that are here with us tonight. I hope some of you got a chance to go down to the Frist in February. We had artwork up for about 2 weeks at the Frist Museum. There were about 400 pieces of artwork from Rutherford County Schools. It's their biggest art show every year, brings in thousands of people to see the quality of our artwork. Students were chosen for that by their teachers, by their art teachers, and the teachers could only select 2 artworks per grade level or 2 artworks per course to go to the Frist. So it was already highly selective. From there, only 1 or 2 per school were chosen to come here to the central office and be displayed in our hallways. And they are up now. We have many of our artists here tonight to go and check out their artwork. So it's quite an honor to be chosen to be here, because out of already limited numbers who are at the Frist, now it's a very, very select number who are here. And I can tell you that it makes such a difference in this office. When the new artwork goes up, people just start coming out of their offices, walking around the building, trying to bribe me to put their favorite artwork outside their office. It just really brightens up and adds to our quality of work here. So, for the students who are here tonight, I'm going to call your name to recognize you for your work. If you would, when I call your name, either stand or raise your hand where you are. Audience, if we'll hold our applause until everyone's name has been called. If you want to give a little silent jazz hands or something for your student, that's totally fine. Then at the end, we will recognize everyone, and then we will be released out into the hallways to go find your art, take pictures, and we'll also have certificates for your student artists out in the hallway for them to pick up. Being recognized tonight, we have Arya Gahar from Barfield Elementary School, Valentina Bedell Sanchez from Blackman Elementary School, Kirsten Tan, Blackman Middle School, Valeria Bedell Sanchez, Blackman High School, Marvinia Bechter, Browns Chapel Elementary School, Jaslyn Coble, Buchanan Elementary School, Woods Denny, Campus School, Diego Castillo, Cedar Grove Elementary, Marley Pinson, Central Magnet School, Kylie McKellany, Christiana Elementary School, Swar Gawarde, Christiana Middle School, Eileen Jimenez, David Urey Elementary School, Bailey Suter, Eagleville School, Addison Thomason, Holloway High School, Lena Abdelgabar, John Coleman Elementary School, Jemiah Gore, Kittrell Elementary School, Cora Harris, Las Casas Elementary School, Asiya Said, Laverne High School, Johali Perez Monterola, Laverne Lake Elementary School, Mason Farmer, Laverne Lake Elementary School, Demi Morrison, McFadden School of Excellence, Candence Wells, Oakland High School, Ethan Supacon, Oakland High School, Riley Reeves, Oakland Middle School, A.J. Glinsky, Plainview Elementary School, Emila Fodor, Poplar Hill Elementary School, McKenna Garber, Riverdale High School, Riker Kiles, Rock Springs Elementary School, Sarah Baca Rodriguez, Rock Springs Elementary School, Ariana Garbe, Rock Springs Middle School, Owen Warren, Rockvale Elementary School, Reese Brooks, Rockvale High School, Sarah Eskandar, Rockvale Middle School, Lakin Gregory, Rocky Fork Elementary School, Ever Bonilla, Rocky Fork Elementary School, Ambria Mitchell, Rocky Fork Middle School, Jace Montevallo, Roy Waldron Elementary School, Jackson Porter, Rutherford County Virtual School, Matilda Woodring, Siegel High School, Seven Fleming, Siegel Middle School, Genevieve Cooper, Smyrna Elementary School, Noah Panek, Smyrna High School, Genevieve Carlin, Smyrna Middle School, Ronan Cias, Smyrna Primary School, Valerie De Leon Alvarado, Stewartsboro Elementary School, Kiara Jacques, Stewarts Creek Elementary School, Ali DeMoet, Stewarts Creek High School, Alexandra DeMoet, Stewarts Creek High School, Chase Ware, Stewarts Creek High School, Gabriela Lazala, Stewarts Creek High School, Ali McKinnock, Stewarts Creek High School, Isabella Jenkins, Stewarts Creek Middle School, Austin Hood, Thurman Francis Arts Academy, Natalia Altador, Walter Hill Elementary School, Jalen Montalvo, Whitworth Buchanan Middle School, Jacob Young, Whitworth Buchanan Middle School, and Navea Chakwisa, Wilson Elementary School. Give all these artists a round of applause. Thank you all for your support of arts education in our schools. Now, artists, parents, and teachers, we will go out in the hallways, find your artwork, take pictures, view all the rest of the artwork, and we'll have a certificate for you in the break room that's right here in the middle of the hallway. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we're going to give it just a few minutes to let them go out to the hallway and find art. Apparently, we're not. Next, we move to instruction.
All right, next, this is continuation of fine arts. So this is a visual and performing arts distinguished graduate program. Instruction department's requesting to implement a graduate distinction program to prepare and recognize students seeking future studies and careers in creative arts industries. Students completing all requirements will receive a medal to wear at graduation and have the distinction printed on their high school transcripts. The program will be managed by the Fine Arts Department under the supervision of Dr. Lindsay Halford, and it will be offered to students beginning in the 26-27 school year. And below you have the requirements for that. Recommended motion, I would recommend we approve.
Move to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Vaughn. Thank you, Ms. Sharp. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I think this is excellent.
Yes.
Very good. Next, we have legal.
Transfer student under discipline, we have one tonight. The board's been requested to admit a transfer student from another school system under discipline. The student was expelled for possession of a weapon other than a firearm. According to policy 6.318, the board may deny admission of any student except those in state custody when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion. Director of Schools recommendations to deny.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bott and Ms. Sharp. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, board matters transportation.
Next, we had a list of drivers who, if I don't drop everything, had met the requirement list of drivers who have successfully transitioned from Ursa Major Logistics by securing private insurance and bus lease under a new company or bus. Are there any additional ones to mention?
Not that we're going to read tonight, no, sir.
Okay. So I'd ask that we approve these contractors, bus 160, 84, 237, 244, 211, 129, and 320.
Could you repeat those
Yes,
one more time? I'm sorry.
160, 84, 237, 244, 211, 129, and 320. Did I miss any of those, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Lee? Is that all of them? Okay.
Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Tidwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we go to hybrid model.
All right, so I'd like, first, we have, this is a transportation bus purchase request. Transportation Department's requesting to begin the purchase of buses to supplement the current student transportation system. These buses will be utilized to replace unfilled contracts and provide coverage for added transportation needs. This, really what we need is just direction if we're okay to move forward and kind of get pricing. We have some official quotes, but this is going to take some time. We have to start talking about funding with county finance, look at funding, look at buses that are available. There's all kinds of different, I have lots of quotes that I will present to the board probably at our workshop retreat next Thursday. But we have, I had a first one, Mr. Lee, that's okay, or Mr. Johnson, give us kind of an update. I think we've gone up a little bit in our open routes from where we were on Tuesday.
Yes, we did have some routes turned back in. We currently have 12 open routes. We will be sending out an email tonight asking for interested contractors. We call that all call. They have until 4:30 tomorrow to let us know what route they would be interested in. And then on Monday, we will do the random drawing to determine who picks up those routes.
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize Mr. Lee to go ahead with the purchase of, I think, 3 special ed buses to go ahead and cover the special ed routes that aren't covered, and the possibility of purchasing 5 more full big-size buses to help cover these routes that aren't covered at the time. Because we don't have any choice but to serve transportation, especially to the special ed kids. And there's a law in the legislature in Nashville now that's going to mandate everybody, that every school system furnish bus transportation for any student that lives over 1.5 miles from school. So we don't have any choice. We're going to have to get in the bus business. So I authorize Mr. Lee to go ahead and cover the special ed buses, to go ahead and purchase them, and possibility of purchasing 5 more, the big buses. I think that we could probably get them on a little bit cheaper cost, simply because we could purchase the ones that are being repossessed and be taken from these routes, these drivers that couldn't get the insurance and were leasing these buses, possibility of those buses being turned back in. So I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second that, and now we'll have some discussion. Dr. Sullivan?
I think my recommendation would be for us to look at quotes, and I appreciate that greatly because that would be my recommendation as well, but for us to look at quotes together with transportation and come up with 3 special education is what you said?
Yep.
And then 5 of the regular buses, and come back with a recommendation of 1, how to fund them, and 2, which there's about 40 that are available. And so instead of just, I'd like for the board to be clear on which VIN numbers we were actually purchasing, whether it was new versus used for warranty purposes, all those different types of things. So I would like for Mr. Johnson, Mr. Lee, myself, Mr. Runyon, and probably Mr. Smith, Michael Smith, to get together and see what's the best deal and make a recommendation from there.
Okay. Mr. Tidwell, and then Ms. Sharp.
Yeah, I got several questions. So, Trey, right now, we have 12 open routes. Does that include the sped buses?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you're going to put out the all call for those?
They're all going out together, yes, sir.
And then Monday, they'll be doing the picker wheel for these routes.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I guess I'm a little bit confused at the motion here. Is the motion to move forward with these purchases, or is the motion to just begin to look at what we have need of? Because I'll tell you where I'm at. Our contractors bailed us out when we had this situation come up. And Trey, all these students are getting picked up, right? We don't have any students not getting picked up currently.
We have the 3 central magnet routes that we're not operating, but by and large, most of our students are being picked up, yes.
And those were not required. So just to be clear, the central magnet routes are not required for us to do that. That is a magnet school, but I do appreciate that distinction. I think if we have the opportunity for our contractors to have the first look at this, which would be the all call, which is what we're going through right now, I think that's the proper way to move through this. This has worked for 40 plus years. We have looked at centralizing this before. It was more expensive when we looked at that. I'm not completely opposed to looking at this as far as what we have need of, but I would rather come back with the results from the all call. If we're simply just asking to figure out, hey, this is going to be a process, we need to get numbers, we need to figure out if this makes sense, figure out the benefits, figure out the cost of the driver, how we're going to find drivers. Because I've talked to a lot of contractors today that had a lot of those questions, like, well, how are y'all going to find drivers if we're having problems finding drivers? And so I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I would rather be talking about this a little bit later down the line. That was my position on Tuesday. It has not changed after talking to contractors over the past 48 hours. So I'm not in favor of moving forward any type of purchase. If we want to just give you authorization to start looking at gathering information, I'm open to that. And it will just depend on what the information that comes back. If we have unfulfilled routes, and I've heard from contractors that said, they don't want these certain routes, and I ain't going to mention what routes they are, but they don't want them, and we're having a hard time filling those, then we're talking about something different. But to take the what would be potentially an opportunity away from those that literally came together and helped us and has been doing this for the past 40 years on something on the insurance side had never happened before. Now, it was structured differently, but that's my opinion on it. I think that's where I'm going to remain. I would like to gather more information, and I'm most curious about how many of these routes are left open after the all call.
We'll give you an opportunity to vote against it.
Madam Chair,
No,
point
no.
of order.
Mr. Vaughn, I hear you. I received you. Yes. Please, Ms. Sharp.
So I agreed with Mr. Tidwell's sentiments and actually Dr. Sullivan's sentiments. So I think we have some due diligence that we need to take care of and have an exact number of buses that we need, an exact number of cost that this is going to happen, because this is going to add more bureaucracy to our system.
Well, you can vote no, too.
Mr. Vaughn, please.
Mr. Lee, do you have information on the data on these ones that didn't come to fruition, like what it was? Was it the insurance? Was it a driver? Was it a bus?
It varied. Some of them decided that the routes were different than what they thought. Some of them couldn't get it. They thought they had a driver, then the driver moved away. Some of them just decided they changed their mind. They didn't want it. So it various different things.
So it's reasonable to expect that some of these will very likely be picked back up through the all-call?
I would hope so. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I would have to echo a lot of what Mr. Tidwell said. I know I spoke about it on Tuesday as well, that you can talk to any district, probably in almost any state in the country, like everybody's struggling to find drivers. People that are using large corporations don't have backup people, so when their drivers call out sick or whatever, those kids are just not getting transported. I think Rutherford County's people, our contractors, have done a fantastic job for a very long time in serving our community. They're invested in this community. They're from this community. A lot of them are generational in this business. And I think it, quite honestly, is a little bit of a slap in the face with the way that they have helped us out recently to be talking about this so quickly. And I appreciate, and there's no disrespect to the process and that it can take time. I think I will be looking for more guidance on a timeline on how we need to look at this, as well as details on pricing, on what we're going to pay those drivers. Those are things we discussed on Tuesday too. So if we don't have that information, I think that moving forward with this is premature.
Okay, I just want to say, if I'm correctly, what I was seconding was Butch's motion to look at purchasing 3 sped buses, and then the possibility of purchasing 5 more after we go and do our due diligence and get the pricing and find out how we would go about just what you and Mr. Tidwell were talking about. I do know that I've heard from a lot of sped families that were very upset that this was such a disruption to their child's life. And I do feel like they're under a contract right now. Our contractors are great. The way they came in and they saved the day and they pulled everybody's fat out of the fire. And I cannot thank you guys enough for what y'all did. But at the same time, these sped families were very, very upset that their lives and their kiddos didn't understand what was going on and got upended. So by purchasing 3 buses, I don't believe we're turning the contractor's world upside down. We are making sure that we have some buses that we can jump in and we can help with when this kind of stuff happens. And I do believe that we need to be prepared and not caught flat-footed. Now, Mr. Vaughn, would you like to clarify what your motion was? Because that's how I heard it.
Yeah. You know, the thing about it is, if these routes aren't picked up, you know, which they've had the option over and over and over again, it's going to be that they could have been picked up, but they weren't for various reasons. And the only thing I'm wanting to do is to make sure, one, we've got to provide special ed routes. And that's, if these routes aren't picked up, Mr. Lee is going to buy the buses to cover. And if these drivers that we've got and contractors want to pick up those routes, they could do so. I think they have to contact Mr. Lee, if I understand it correctly. But my motion was that I want to go ahead and let him start moving forward and investigate it. Because if they're not picked up, we have got to furnish transportation, whether whether you like it or not. And the thing about it is, can't find drivers. We've got drivers of the buses that covered these routes that don't have a job. And I'm hoping my hope is that we go and offer the drivers the opportunity to come to work for Rutherford County Schools and drive those buses for us and put them on our payroll. And hopefully maybe I'd like to see them be EAs in school to round out that amount of hours and allow them to get benefits, which is going to be a great, great, great benefit to those people that can't afford to run the bus. And the thing about it is, I want us to be proactive instead of reactive. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want us to get caught after all this is done and here we are get sued because a parent, we didn't furnish transportation for the kids fulfill his IEP. And if you want to take a gamble with IEPs versus the bus, that's not a real good gamble because you're going to lose.
Ms. Rosales and then Mr. Tidwell.
All right, thank you. So I am by no means wanting to put anyone out of work. I do agree that our bus contractors stepped up to the plate on a very, very short notice, did everything that they could to pick up the routes. I mean, I was making phone calls and speaking to the contractors and trying to find spare buses. And since it happened, I'm still helping, trying to locate buses. I'm trying to locate drivers that are in need of a route, trying to get them a route to fulfill. So I'm not trying by any means to say that we're going to get them out of business, because at the end of the day, if they pick up a route, they have to fulfill that contract for 3 years, regardless. But considering what happened over 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think that we would be in a very different spot had some decisions been made where the main bus driver that created the situation will have taken ownership and accountability by picking up the phone and calling Mr. Johnson and saying, hey, this is the situation I'm at. But because that did not occur, we had to scramble. And so we will have probably given a different type of leniency. We will definitely probably given him some leniency in that regard since he did take ownership. So with that being said, I am a parent, and that was very concerning for me as a parent that we did not have these bus routes. I do agree that we should have some spare buses in the event that there is an emergency. For me, it's not saying that we're going to automatically buy a spare bus to get a contractor out of business. If that was the case, I wouldn't be agreeing to buy an outrageous number of buses. If we're just looking at buying 3 buses for Gen Ed and 3 for SPED, then I'm okay with that as to use them as spare buses in cases of emergency. I don't know what the cost is. We still have to figure out what the cost is of that to see if we can even afford that. So us saying let's start the process doesn't necessarily mean that we are signing the dotted line right now. We're doing our homework and trying to figure out if this is something that we can financially absorb. So I'm going to vote yes, let's start this process to look and see if we can at least research it.
Okay, Mr. Tidwell.
Mr. Vaughn just stated if the routes are picked up, then Trey can buy these buses, and that's opposite of what you are saying right now. So I'm just wondering where the clarity is. Here's my thought is if we need the buses, we can have the conversation. We could do right now without the motion to possibly be looking at 8 buses, and you just mentioned, Ms. Rosales, you just mentioned 6. We're getting closer to the number that we could potentially be at. But let's just say, hey, you have permission to go out there and figure out what we are going to potentially have need of. But find out what it is after the all-call. Let's see what we have need of. The issue that typically happens in these situations is you buy something and you don't let it set. And because you own it, now you put it to use. And you say, well, we didn't buy it for that reason to put anybody out. But now that we have these buses, let's go ahead and put them on this popular hill instead of sending it out to the all-call. Let's go ahead and start making use of these things since we now have ownership of them. I'm not moving off this ground, is if we want to move forward tonight, I'm not going to go forward with 8 buses. If we want to move forward as a board, if we're just talking about starting the conversation, then why can we not authorize, right here, motion to authorize the purchase of buses as presented? The recommendation, why can't we just authorize them to go ahead and collect the information, see how the all-call goes? Our next board meeting, we have way more information. We got a spring retreat coming up too. We have a lot of information from that as well. We get the information instead of just jumping out here. We could all be together. So that's where I'm at. I don't want that to get twisted. And Dr. Sullivan, how much are these buses? How much are the buses?
About $185,000 for a new one, for the big buses.
For the big buses, and that's potentially 5 of those plus 3 of the speds. I think there are going to be sped routes to go unfulfilled. I think that's it. So let's get that information back, and then it's just an easy motion to go with the flow with the whole board, rather than always having, differences of opinions on how it's going to play out.
Yes, Dr. Sullivan and then Ms. Darby.
My recommendation would be for us we have a retreat next Thursday, possibly do a special call right after on Thursday. We will give everybody we'll do the all call. Everybody will have time. That gives our contractors time. The only thing that I would respectfully ask the board, what I can't give answers to parents is if we delay this too long, is when am I going to have a route for my kids to have, and I don't have an answer. So if we give the all-call, which is the appropriate route, and I think our contractors will take most of these, but if we get past that all-call and then we still have routes open, I do think we need to be able to move forward and cover those, just so that the board has an idea. It is a little bit of all over the county, which is a little bit surprising, and I'll just give you a quick overview of where these routes are. I just think it's good to know. Bus 12, and this is my last information, so it may have changed just a little bit. Bus 12 is John Coleman, Laverne Middle, Laverne High. Then bus 27 is Cedar Grove, Rock Springs Middle, Laverne High. Bus 39, Rock Springs Elementary, Rock Springs Middle, Stewart's Creek High. Bus 65, Stewart's Creek Middle, Smyrna High. Bus 75, Smyrna Primary, Smyrna Middle, Smyrna High. 114 is David Urey, Stewart's Creek, and Stewart's Creek Middle and Stewart's Creek High right now. That's a special education route. 189 is Stewartsboro and Blackman Middle. 215 is one of our shuttle buses from the north end to Central Holloway and Oakland's IB program. 258 is a special education bus. That's Laverne Lake, Roy Waldron, Smyrna High. 303, Stewart's Creek Elementary, Stewart's Creek Middle, Stewart's Creek High. 323, Rockville Elementary, Rockville Middle, Rockville High. And then 327, I don't know the location of that one, I just have the contractor. But you can see it's a little bit of kind of all over. And so my recommendation would be for us, we've got quotes and pricing. We will go over that over the next couple of days, and then we'll send out the all-call, see how many routes we can get covered, and then I can have a better idea right after our retreat. I'll know by Tuesday if we need. We can probably go ahead and put a special call on the agenda for 4:30 right after our retreat. And if we need to go ahead and move forward, because it's going to take at least a month for us to purchase it, that would allow us to be on next Thursday. We could still hit Health and Ed in March. Then it would have to go to budget. Then you're looking at full commission in April. We're barely getting to the end of the year before we're even able to cover these. And so that'd be my recommendation.
Ms. Darby and then Mr. Vaught.
That was actually going to be, excuse me, one of my questions was, what is the likelihood that we would even have these? It doesn't seem like we're going to have them in place before the end of the school year. Because not only would you have to go through that whole process, but then you'd have to find drivers, like it's,
Yeah.
so I don't, not saying that we shouldn't move forward with things, but it's helpful to kind of know where that sits too, because we need to know if we're going to have to find alternative methods to finish out the school year if some of these routes stay uncovered. I just kind of want to reiterate, I heard from a lot of SPED parents too that were very upset that we had kind of, in their opinion, moved as fast as we did with the decision. I know I had talked about really wanting to ask our parents and survey them since their families were the ones being affected by the decision that night. And looking back on it, I really wish the board would have taken a pause and kind of taken time to breathe a minute and reached out to those parents and those families that were affected. Some of these students don't do well with change at all. And some of those drivers had nothing to do with what went on. I think there were some possible alternatives that we could have done and looked at. So I think it's just, the whole situation is a shame, but I don't want to continue on making super rash decisions. I think these things have to be talked about with all of the information necessary, really thought out before we make some of these decisions. So I think Dr. Sullivan's recommendation is a good one, allowing them the opportunity to get more information, some pricing together, so we have a better idea and a bigger picture of what we're looking at than what we're just talking about this evening.
Ms. Maxwell?
Well, Mr. Vaught, please,
Okay.
and then I'll get back with you.
Oh, gracious, I don't know if y'all want me to start or not, but I'm going to try to walk you through some of what I know. Butch, Mr. Vaughn, I appreciate the motion, I really do. I think all of us here have a very great concern. We felt this way back when we did the new contract, when some of the drivers threatened to strike last year, but we've gotten beyond that a little bit. I think we've got to be, and I'm gonna try to offer a little wisdom right here about trying, and as Ms. Darby said, maybe an alternative to doing something. I really don't see how we can buy buses and get them on the road this spring. It's really not going to work. If we wholeheartedly think this is the path we want to go down, let's let the director and transportation put a budget together, realistically how many buses that we need to buy, whether that's 5 or 10, whether it's sped buses, whether it's big buses. Let's get it right. We are all emotionally strained right now, for lack of a better way to put it, because we feel for these sped parents. I think all of us do. But I don't want to knee-jerk react and make a bad business decision heading down this road. So I want to focus our attention just a little bit. We've gone through a rezoning, so we're going to reroute a lot of stuff this summer anyway, correct? I'm looking at you, that everything gets kind of shuffled around a little bit, right?
Yes.
So that will give us a greater picture as to what we actually will need if we take off down this path. And if by chance some of these routes get retooled, reallocated, maybe there's greater demand on the contractors to pick them up. Second thing is, and this is first and foremost, we're going to have a new draw Monday. So Monday afternoon, we will know what position we're in, how many are open at that point in time. One thing we might consider is to ask the director to, we could lease buses. We could rent buses temporarily if we could find drivers between now and the end of the year before we dive off deep in this. If there's some drivers out there, we could pick them up right now, offering benefits, whatever it is. That gets into a little political situation with our contractors. I don't want to go down that road too far, but I think you could back into it just a little bit and not have to go through the purchasing part of it if we could just lease the equipment. Because we're 10 weeks out from the end of school. And this is a big, big decision to take off down this path. I think all of us feel we're going to end up at that point, and we're going to end up there sometime, whether it's 5 buses or 50 buses, I don't know. But to take care of the immediate problem, and this is going along with your comment, to try to take care of the sped parents right now, is get the director through transportation, find out if there's any sped buses we could rent, lease, any big buses we can rent, lease, and see what the probability is to get some drivers, and maybe we could get that up and running in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, do that right after the board retreat. That might be a better thing to take care of right then and there. And I have asked y'all, and I really firmly believe this, there's a series of policies we need to institute, change, redirect. 5 or 6 of these buses, and I've talked to these guys today, yesterday, trying to help them out, trying to point them in the right direction. It's all about the insurance. I'm just going to say it. It's all about the change of the insurance. It's put them on edge. They're not being able to do business the way they used to. We've got to get through that. Here again, the courthouse, Ed's office over there, risk management, they've put it out for bids. We don't know if we're going to get any bids back, whether or not we can furnish insurance. They're still going to have to furnish insurance. They're still, if we can't furnish liability for them, and I don't know what my opinion is right now. Who knows? We've got to wait till that comes in. Can't make a decision based on feelings and thoughts right now. We have to make decisions on concrete information we have right now. That's what's bothering me about all of this, is there's too many unknowns. And so for us to, blatantly say, well, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, I just don't think we have enough information. And I don't mean to get passionate about it, but these are irrational business decisions right now. That's what's bothering me. So I would urge my fellow board member, Mr. Vaughn, if he would rescind his motion. I don't think we're ready for this. I'm all for it if this is what the data tells us, but there's too many open-ended things. I think we need to request the director and transportation to work together we need a budget put together if this is the business we're going to get in. We also need to look at an alternative situation right now to get us through the end of the year. Those are 2 things I feel very strongly about. Is that enough preaching for tonight?
No, that's fine.
Ms. Max?
Mr. Vaughn.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll rescind my motion and make it where that, I'd like to authorize transportation and Dr. Sullivan and everything to move and investigate the possibility of purchasing these buses if needed, because we'll know routes that aren't covered by that time. And if we could, I'd like to make that motion that we authorize Mr. Lee, Transportation, Dr. Sullivan to investigate the possibilities of having to buy if we have to buy these buses. And also, like Mr. Vaught said, alternative methods of doing that. So, Ms. Dawn, if that's kind of...
I appreciate it. I don't think we actually need a motion for that. I think we can authorize Dr. Sullivan.
Already doing it.
He's already doing it, so.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad you understand.
About a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Rosales.
Thank you. So I hear Mr. Vaught. Dr. Sullivan, when we came in yesterday, you said you needed direction, and so your direction is that you want to start the process of at least researching.
Yeah, my direction would be, I didn't expect to have 7 more routes come open. And so now that we've had 7 more routes come open, let's do one more all-call to see if we can get those covered. But if we get to Thursday and now we're on 2 weeks with our routes not covered, I've got to start being able to provide parents with answers of what we're going to be doing. Routes aren't going to decrease next year. We're opening a new school. They're going to increase, not decrease.
Exactly.
And so-
And last year, we had 10 unfulfilled routes. And I was there when we were doing the bids to try to get them. And so that's why when the bids came in, that's why I told you that it was going to be cheaper to continue going forward with the model with our contractors, because those bids came up higher than what the contractors were saying what we were going to offer the contractor. I just want to make it clear. My only concern is that I do not want to be in a situation where we're flat-footed. I am not in favor of buying an insurmountable amount of buses at all. If we're looking at buying a couple of buses, I'm okay with that, just to have them as a spare for emergency cases. But because of what happened last Friday, and I think as a parent, and we're in this situation, then they're going to be looking up to us when we cannot fulfill that route and their child is going to stay home. I know that our bus contractors are going to do an amazing job. They're going to step up. They did it. But we still had some that weren't having, didn't we not have some routes that were still not quite as covered?
Yeah, we still have schools that are having to wait longer that I would like to have employees. And so for me, I just view it similar to, our bus contractors are a different level, of course, but it's good to have as many tools as you can to solve a problem. And so right now, I'm down a tool that would be nice to be able to solve if our routes don't get picked up. Substitute teachers is a good example. If substitute teachers don't fill positions, I then use our teachers to be able to fill classrooms. I have one special education bus, and that's all I can use to fill anything. And that doesn't go very far.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with that. I'm not in agreement and I'm just going to make it clear, I am not in agreement in buying a fleet of buses to give this perception that we're trying to get people out of business. I'm not in favor of that. We're not to be supporting that. But if we are wanting to look at for emergency purposes in the event that something like what that has a catastrophic situation, then to help with Remedy Solution as a tool to give to Rutherford County Schools to have a spare bus, then I will be okay of doing that. But I am not going to be supporting anything that looks like it's a fleet of buses that we're buying.
Okay. Madam Chair.
Ms. Darby.
Dr. Sullivan, can you include in your information, please, if you're buying them as spare buses, what that would look like? Because then my concern would be, and questions I think we would need answers to, does the insurance cover someone that's not an RCS employee driving one of those buses? If it doesn't, what is our plan to have people on staff if they're only being used as spare emergency buses?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Vaught.
I'm going to go back to that just one more time to do it quickly. Do you need authorization from us to post a bus driver salary?
No, because we're not to that point yet.
Well,
We'd have to do a job description and everything first, and
that's what I'm saying. Do you need that from us tonight?
We
to
can
be-
start creating a job description, and then the board can assign what salary level and all those different things. We'll make a recommendation. But since we, for funding wise, would still be at the Health and Education meeting on March 24th.
Well, the reason I say that, I'm visually thinking in my mind, okay, we've got 10 open routes, whatever it is. Well, we've got the money because we were paying somebody else to do it. So if we can, I'm trying to expedite it if that is a possibility for you to hire drivers and rent buses temporarily between now and the end of the year. That's the only thing. Do you need something from us to do that, or are you okay?
I can create job descriptions. I cannot officially have a job description before it's board approved. So if it's needed for Thursday and we need a special call, I'm going to put it on the agenda just in case we need it. And if we need to cancel, that would be great.
Right.
But
so we could do
a draft.
We could expedite it that way.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do is expedite. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
And I want to echo Ms. Rosales. I have no desire to ever have another department that I manage either. I don't want another department. So I got enough.
Any other questions?
No, we have got to cover the special ed buses. There's no doubt about that. And, we don't have enough bicycles to cover that. So, let's move forward with this thing instead of messing around with it, because IEPs can get sued real quick. These kids don't get them to school. We're in dire straits.
Okay. Is that it? Any other comments?
Ms. Maxwell,
Yes, Mr. Tisch.
just for one point of clarity, all students are being covered right now, outside of the ones that we're not required to from Central Magnet. Okay, are all SPED students being covered right now?
We were till we lost some, and so now we're shuffling again. We're shuffling again. It's a constant shuffle right now.
Is that part of the constant shuffle that happens whenever we have a bus that's
Whenever
down?
a route goes down, so yes.
So
we'll
nothing
continue.
uncommon?
No, having this number is uncommon, yes. So we'll constantly get every kid, it just may be later than it needs to be.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Dalby.
Dr. Sullivan, the sped bus that we have, is it currently running to help the situation?
It's running right now.
They're running the midday.
Yes, it's running work-based
It's a
learning.
job,
Yes, it's running work-based learning,
Work-based learning.
Yes.
work-based learning. We're utilizing it for that.
which is part of a student's IEP too, so
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, we use those sped buses for more than just pick up and
They're all
taking
day
home.
long, yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's move on to engineering and construction.
All right, first, we have Whitworth Buchanan Middle softball request. Principal Chris Butner is requesting to add gravel paths and spectator seating areas around girls' softball field. Cost of this request is $1,000, will be funded from the softball account, is at no cost to the board.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next.
Klein Sweeney Transition Academy fee proposal. Klein Sweeney Associates has submitted a proposal to design the Transition Academy facility based on their proposed date, January 1st, 2026. This proposal is for an estimated construction budget of $350,000. The fee proposal is $30,000 for the first building and $15,000 for the second. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and has no objections.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. Thank you, Ms. Sharp. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'd like to say something about the Klein Sweeney group. What they do in associates, they do a good job. I saw the new high school, the newest built high school in the state that they designed, and it's top drawer.
Okay. Next, we have Central Magnet.
Central Magnet baseball field upgrade request. Dr. John Ash is requesting to improve the baseball field at Las Casas Elementary to include concrete, new dugouts, and a turf infield. Warren Construction has provided quotes that include dugouts at $39,885, backstop netting at $39,599, and infield turf at $374,555. Funding for this project is an unsecured loan by the Baseball Booster Club. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and has no objection, as long as no spoils, dirt, rock, etc., are left on site, and any damage to the existing paved areas will be repaired at the school's expense. And as we talked about on Tuesday, I've also asked that we include Las Casas in some way into that turf.
I move to approve this.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Thank you, Ms. Rosales.
This is a great thing, it's a great community thing between Central Magnet and Las Casas and the Warren Construction Company. They're a first-class group, so
It's going to look beautiful.
they'll do it right, believe me. They will do it right.
Do we need to vote? Yes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have Blackman Middle Storage Barn.
Dr. Jessica Jackson is requesting purchase of a 15 by 28 foot storage shed to be used as part of the STEM program. Shed cost is $12,605 and will be funded by the CTE ISM grant. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and has no objection.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Thank you, Ms. Rosales. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we move to the resolution.
And so we discussed this in detail on Tuesday. Thank you, Mr. Tidwell, for pushing this. This is a resolution in support of fully funding for high-performing local education LEA bonuses. And so as we talked about, Rutherford County is one of 2 school districts, us in Williamson County, who have received the full $4 million for having more than 50% of your schools having an A, and this year, unfortunately, it was prorated. Not enough funding was put into the state's budget, so it was prorated, and this is asking for it to be fully funded, and it was prorated at almost $1.4 million to come to us after July 1st. One thing that I do want to call everyone's attention to, we had Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents meeting the last 2 days. Tennessee Department of Education and State Board was there yesterday, and so they allowed an open mic. So one of the things that I brought attention to very respectfully was the TVOS change again. And so they've all year talked about how there would not be a real fiscal impact. And so I brought up, and I think we're starting to get some movement. And so it's truly a department issue. We would no longer receive any funding by this change. And so for the high performance, we would go from being the highest performing district along with Williamson to no longer receiving any high performance funding just because of a statistical model change that when I go on the TBOS site, I click one button and it changes it. And it's called effect size that you're looking at. And so the department was receptive this time. I don't know if I'll be able to continue to get that push, but I'm going to continue to push respectfully. Dr. Chastain's working on a very nice email. We're trying to run the models ourselves, but all the data is not there to even run the models that we need to. And so we're trying to figure it out. But that's frustrating to have that level of performance and have a statistical model change it. Because when you hit finances, then it's a little different. We can work on communication. We can work on all kinds of things. When you're losing $4 million because of that, that's different.
Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
I just want to thank a couple of people for helping with this. Mike Sparks, Representative Mike Sparks was someone that was helping, as well as Don White, Senator Don White. She actually was willing to run a bill. Now, we found out about this after the deadline, so everything would be moved to the following year, but she was actually ready to run something if she could have had somebody with a caption on the education side, on the House side, that was open. But I just wanted to give thanks to them. I really appreciate that. And I'm very, very hopeful this is going to go through. But to a question back to the changes for next year, that is not a bill that's being ran in the General Assembly. Is it the Department of Education's strictly?
From my understanding, it's one individual who is, and I'm going to be careful, it's one individual who likes that model better. And so the way it is occurring right now, all gross scores will stay the same. So as Dr. Chastain mentioned, all scores will earn their 1 through 5. Then there will be an additional measure applied, so-called effect size, and it'll break your 5s into 4s and 5s. And so that is going to differentiate your A's versus B's, which would drop us down to no longer be, because we met it by 1 this year. So if you don't meet 50%, then you don't get any funding. So that new measure, your school scores aren't changing at all, but adding an additional measure just to get a prettier bell curve is going to change it. But the school scores would still stay exactly, the numbers would be exactly the same as they were this year.
Have they
Where's
received
that
any
guy from?
pushback?
Tennessee Department of Education. Yes, they've received a ton of pushback from superintendents, as Dr. Chastain mentioned. Small counties do like it, small districts, and then most of this state is small.
Because it would have the, Ms. Maxwell?
Go ahead.
It would have the opposite effect for them. It would move them up. I mean, it could bring down some of their top end, but it could move them more toward the middle is what they're trying to do. What is the draw for them?
It's basically, they are drawing everybody more to the middle. Would you agree, Dr. Chastain?
I'm not going to try to guess
Right.
why, but it is to ultimately for that curve to look more normal. So right now you have higher numbers of 1s and 5s than the model, than the person creating the model would like. And so to shift 5s and 1s in, they've created this addition of the effect size to kind of add a measure of magnitude. So you'll have fewer 1s and 5s, more 4s and 2s.
Yeah,
Same
but-
number of 3s.
I just got to say, I don't quite understand, and it's quite frustrating, and I know there's probably something political or something going on in the background, but I just don't quite understand that if your scores are going to be the exact same, what reason do even they have to make it push together? It's not merit-based. This is why I love this high-performance thing. It's because if you do good, you get a reward for that. That's amazing. I love that. So it's frustrating to me that we have to work so hard to get true scores, and then we turn around and we get punished for it. I just don't like that. How quickly can they make this decision? Is this something that somebody can make this summer?
Oh, yes, yes,
They've already,
yes.
pretty much.
I'd like to add to the bottom of this motion that we put that, hey, if they just need to get their rear in gear.
I did get further with his supervisor yesterday than I have in the past. So I think they're open, and I'm hoping that we've got to partner with another big district. Williamson will still perform that way. They're just big enough that we always want the same expectations. They're a different student demographic, so your growth and your achievement measures there are higher than ours. And so if you're above a 45% achievement rate, then you're automatically getting those full 5 points. We really try to get the full 5 points for our growth. So Williamson, the way I look at it right now, will probably be the only one that has that many schools that'll get it. I know the person who wrote the bill originally, that was kind of the intent portion of it, and it got included, and we just happened to meet that bar 2 years in a row as well, which is nice. And I'm trying as everything to make sure that we don't just get left out just because we happen to be a high-scoring district that now this model is going to impact us. But I haven't gotten very far, and I've been fighting this since September.
Ms. Maxwell?
Just a question. The frustrating thing is you and Dr. Martin and Ryan Runyon just went to the state and were honored to present because we do so well with the funding that we've been given, and we achieve with the great diversity and the metrics that we have. And yet, this is going to penalize us.
That's what I used yesterday, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but we had the State Board of Education spoke first yesterday, and in front of all the superintendents in the State Department, they talked about how well Rutherford County presented their information, and that if anybody needed help on or discussion around budgeting to really look to talk to us. And so I knew that I had an audience at that point, so then I was able to talk about the fiscal impact. And so I'm hoping that'll get motion, but Dr. Chastain and I are really going to work on the wording of our email to see if we can keep pushing. So,
Thank you.
You know,
Okay.
since,
Hold on, Butch.
okay.
Ms. Rosales, and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you so much. So what I was going to say is that changing this to the effective size, where it's looking at it's looking into the enrollment size, correct? When it's saying effective size, it's looking how many kids are enrolled.
Then the student count is what manipulates that.
Yes.
Because the higher number of students, and traditionally just with our growth index by itself, includes the number of students with the standard error. This effect size kind of eliminates the use primarily of that as the reliable measure.
Yeah, so it seems like the bigger you grow, the harder it's going to be for big districts to achieve certain scoring, because it seems like the the smaller size district will have a higher scoring for the effective size versus a district that has a lot more students. It feels like this penalizes those who have a bigger, it seems like, in my interpretation, it penalizes districts that are big, and it helps districts that are smaller in size, because it's not taking into account the makeup of the students within this district, whether they're falling in certain levels. So if you're in ESL, well, special populations, for instance, and so everybody's lumped in together, because at least with the other side, the model with the academic growth, it considered those in the special population, and they were graded a little bit different than those that were not considered in the special population.
And not entirely, like the growth measure is still there. This is an addition to how the growth is calculated. So it's creating fewer, to Mr. Tidwell's point a little bit, you have fewer success stories. So, which is frustrating since these are criterion reference tests. Like the idea is that everybody does, like we are all aiming to do well, which is what we've been asked to do. Here are the standards, teach the standards, score well on the standards. That's our charge. And now they're saying, wait, no, never mind. Too many doing well, so we don't like the way this curve looks now. So we're gonna change. We're gonna add this effect size to decrease the number of fives, essentially. So
Right.
you've got fewer fives, whether you're big, small, or indifferent. But the way that they've done that is to this effect size decrease as a level of magnitude, then removes that mathematical calculation that adds reliability because of number.
I get everything you're saying, but the reason why I'm making this argument is because you got Colliersville. It's a different type of demographics that are in that school system. They tend to do very well. I don't believe this, I think it's going to help them, because they've got, when you look at if you compare, and I know Davidson County is not the best example, because everyone talks, thinks that they're not doing well. However, it's gonna apply in my argument. You've got Colliersville, different demographics. Their scoring is a 5. The effective size is not going to impact that at all. It's going to help them even more. They're not going to drop in scoring. Davidson County, way different demographic. Their academic growth played a huge part in the scoring. The effective size will hurt them. It's going to impact that. That's my argument.
Okay. And then I've got with you, Mr. Vaughn.
I'm going to forward this to the board just real quick. I just pulled it up. It's even, so the board, the state puts it in something called their accountability protocol, and they even have it in their accountability protocol. The TVOS levels range from 1 to 5, and so that's what you earn. Starting the 25-26, the interpretation of each level is updated below. So you're still earning it, but then their interpretation of what you earn is below. And so it's strictly what the department, and what I understand is 1 or 2 statisticians want it to be. But I'll forward that to you all so you have it. But
Mr.
we
Vaughn.
could nerd out on it forever. Or at least Kelly and I could nerd out on it forever.
Mr. Vaughn, go.
I've been in education basically all my life. And I've done work with the Department of Ed back when they started the evaluation program. We helped design that thing. We didn't tell anybody because it was so bad. But I'm telling you, like I said, I have seen it, man. They're dismantling the Department of Ed in Washington, D.C., thank goodness. And the money hopefully is going to filter down to the states. And, it would be awesome, Dr. Sullivan, if we could just have our own Department of Education so we didn't have to worry about these other problems. And you could be the director for the school system. You got Ms. Martin, you got Dr. Chastain, Dr. Martin. You got everything you need to do it right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all.
It always comes down to the money.
That's what I'm saying. If it filtered down, if we could get our chunk, we could get it and run with it, So that's my recommendation. But
Ms. Sharp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think one of the problems that we're not looking at is the effect that this has on our students. Because this is a contest that they try to reach and win every year, and they do. And then they come in and say, oh, you won, but you're only going to get X amount of money. And that, year after year, testing, more testing, too much testing, over testing, that's why the kids don't care. So there's that aspect to it that the Department of Education is not even looking at, because the kids are saying, why should I even try when they're going to come in here and change the metrics, or they're going to change it to where even if I score well, it's never enough. I mean, they need to have some wins, and we get wins, and it's like then what is it, that progressive, where they yank that fish out of that guy's hand or something, you know, it's like you're about to win, and then they just yank it out of your hand. And I think that's another thing that, you know, they're not looking at, and the effect that it has on our kids. And it makes them, we already overtest, makes them not want to test and not want to do well. They don't really care because they're like, well, we're not going to win.
Can I be cynical for just a second? How many districts won this high grade?
This year, I don't know. I know last year it was 2. It was us and Williamson. Got the full 4 million.
But it was more this year that.
More, I don't know how many would be eligible, because in order to get the full 4 million, you have to have more than 31 schools, and more than half of them have to earn. So I don't know. There's not many of us that have more than 31 schools. You know it?
Ms. Maxwell?
Yeah.
It was basically $11 million more. I don't know exact number of schools, but more met the threshold, but they didn't meet I think it's maybe 2 that met the threshold again this year as the highest, which is Rutherford County, I think, and Williamson. But they had some other tiers.
Lower, yes.
Yeah.
I can't, sometimes it just comes down to money. And if they have to dole out too much of it, it's just like when you have a sales goal and it's $1 million. Well, the next year it's going to be $1.5 million. And I have a feeling that that's kind of what the state is doing. They're raising the bar. Yeah. That's what they
Madam
said.
Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
One last point of clarity on this, Dr. Sullivan. When you were reading off that website, you said that the interpretation was going to start in the year 25, 26.
It starts with this year's test scores. So that's why it hits us for this year.
So it's already being enacted.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be enacted on this year's scores, which we get in August, but in the past, they haven't released the protocol until after we got the scores, and so it is not too late for them to change it for this year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we need a motion.
I make a motion to.
Yes, I forgot, in all that conference, but we have a
approve the
resolution, a motion. Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Did you get that, Dawn? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have insurance update. Yes, go
Nothing.
ahead.
Oh, I got to add one thing here. $4 million divided by creates 531 vouchers. Sting.
Buy
Go ahead.
7 buses, too.
Insurance?
Nothing new from Tuesday.
Okay. Financial update?
Yeah, everyone has a copy of the TN Edu funding. This is our first release, and so just wanted to kind of quickly go over it. The base funding went from $72.95 to $75.30, and so that's the new base funding. I'm just on page 1. And then if you'll flip over, now I'm on would be page 3. So this is our TISA preliminary estimate. And so the base is 7,530. You'll see the different weights that are generating. Last year, we were funded on 51,500, so you'll see that's a decrease of about 300 kids that we've been talking about. This does include all 3 charter schools, us, RCP, Springs, and ACAR. And so collectively together, we're all down about 300. And so that's going to impact some of the funding. Where we are really excelling and continue to excel, it's something that we talked about a couple years ago, was seeing if putting more funding towards our career and technical education programming would make more money. And so we have gone from just over 17 million last year to 19.9 million generated this year. So it truly is generating money. And I'll give you last year's stuff in a little while. But if you kind of go to the back, you'll see back of page 4, you'll see how we are generating and how many students are getting in their career and technical education courses. So moving to block has helped a little bit of that as well. And so CTE is continuing to truly do amazing work. The page 5 shows how much money has to go into teacher raises, salary increases. And when I go over how much money we increase, you're going to see it's just about all of it. So if you'll now go to the part that says, let me see what page that is. It's TISA preliminary estimate, state and local contributions. So what's page 1, 2, 3, 4, page 6. This is the one that truly matters. So the bottom of this page, this is where they take everything and multiply it out. Across the state, the funding is 70-30. So the state funds 70% of the funding, the local funds 30%. And so you will see that our weight is at about, our fiscal capacity is 5.1, so we're at 81% is what they're funding statewide. And so that fluctuates a little. This is on last year's number, so it's still going to change. We don't get that new number until April. And so it's going to change, but statewide, they fund 70% of TISA, locals fund 30. That's why if you look above, you'll see the total funding is $499 million. That's how much we generate. The local is supposed to be 121. Our local funds more than that. They fund 193. So the state portion that we are getting as of right now would be 378. They go ahead and exclude post-secondary, so I'm looking at second to last number is 377, 732. Last year, we got right at 368. So it's only about 9 million extra. That was expected from having the loss in students. The last couple years, we've had a $20 or $30 million extra increase. This does include an additional 150 charter school students that were generated, so that additional funding will come out of this 9 million, which leaves that number on the previous one about 6.7 that has to go to teacher funding. It's about all that is left. And so we have worked for the last, we've known this was coming because we've been tracking our attendance since the beginning. We've been working to right-size all of our positions within staffing ratios. Dr. Chastain and I've been working on since what, October probably? I mean, it's been forever. So retirements, resignations, those different types of things, we basically at the end of the year just won't be backfilling those so that people won't be losing their jobs. But I think we've talked about that before. We've talked about with our teacher advisory council that I meet with once every quarter so that nobody's losing their job, and instead of retirement resignations, we just won't be filling those. So that's going to offset quite a bit. As we are looking at this kind of budget, we're trying to do a raise of 2 to 2.5%. Right now, based on this one, I'm probably leaning more towards 2%. And every percent increase is about $4 million on our overall budget. So that's just rough. It's depending on benefits, insurance, all those different things, but every percent is about $4 million. And then our overall, trying to get my notes, our overall contribution to health insurance is a little over $60 million. If that's going up 12%, then you can see we're already going to be about 7 million additional increase somewhere. 60 million is what we contribute to health insurance. It's going up 12. So you're looking at a $7 million increase that somebody's got to cover. That's why I'm saying I need to probably take that extra 0.5% and try to knock down additionally some of that medical insurance cost. It's still way early in our budget season. Since we just got this on Friday at 4:38, that's usually when you get your first one. The very last day of February is when it comes in. But just we're fine. I feel better about this budget than I did last year. There's more things we can control. There's just not very much wiggle room like there usually is not. It's weird to be in a declining enrollment. That's strange.
A blip.
Yeah, it's strange. That's definitely a first. But wanted you all at least to have this. We'll go over it in a lot more detail, compare it to last June as well, so that you all can have an idea of where it is. But looking between 2.5 COLA increase, you have the step on top of that. And then the other part that we're looking at is using some of our Title funds to try to supplement some of our Title I schools as well. But we'll be talking to our Title I principals for retention, bonuses at some of our Title I schools, because those schools can be harder to staff. And I hear the North End County Metro Nashville may do quite a bit of a raise, so we're going to have to do something to try to offset that. So using title funding for that.
Okay. Next, director's update.
Yeah, one quick thing that I wanted to hit on, appreciate the comments from parents about charter schools. I don't think anyone, I've definitely, my tone has been much more from a couple years ago. I've made great inroads with Charter Commission, with State Board of Education, had great conversations yesterday with multiple members of the state board. One of the things that everyone just has to know is that we have TCA 4913-120. We have to give a annual performance report. That is in state law. We have to. And so that's one thing we have to do. We did earn commendable on our report, which is second highest. We're going for exemplary next year. The other thing I wanted to give a shout out to, and we probably need to do an RCS difference for them at some point, is our Rutherford Teach Now program. So their licensure and the number of people that we are actually licensing through that program, they received their annual performance, and they were exceeds expectations. They were one of 15 in the state, and the company they have with their teacher education program, they were one of the 15 along with Belmont, ETSU, Lipscomb, Tribeca, and Vanderbilt. And so pretty good company for your college of education, because that's really what it is. It's a college education to be in along with those schools. So congratulations to them. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Moving on to general discussion. I'm going to brag on our director a little bit. Y'all may not know this, but I was proud enough to know that he and Dr. Martin and Brian Runyon came and they presented, and we were an exemplary system to look at and model. But at TVOS this week, the director, the head man over there, singled out Dr. Sullivan as the finest schools director in the state. And I want to give you that. And we know it, and it's a pleasure to work with you every day.
I appreciate that.
Any other?
Yes.
Ms. Darby, and then I'll get you.
Okay.
I just wanted to give a shout out to our CTE department, and I think Dr. Chastain was a big piece of the CTE mobile learning labs. They've been at Thurman Francis this week, and I'm hearing a lot of students talk about a lot of things that they got to try. Everybody's super excited, talking about how cool they are. So kudos to that department. Awesome job. Thank you.
I just wish we'd go back in time and had those like 20 years ago, because they're fantastic. Yes, Mr. Vaughn.
Mr. Lee, how's the building at Central doing? How are we coming along? Is it gonna be
We should
finished
have
in-
the state fire marshal drawings this week or next.
Think it'll be finished by year after next, something like that?
No, I got to be finished by July.
September is the deadline.
It's got to be finished by July.
Yep.
All right.
My rabbit hat's getting short.
Can't wait to see it. Yes, Ms. Rosales.
Thank you very much. So this week was Read Across America, and I went to Blackman Elementary School and Smith Springs Empowerment. And last time that we did the Read Across America, I dressed up as Mother Goose. But this time around, in honor of our 250th celebration of the United States of America, I chose to dress up as Betty Ross. So I walked around as Betty Ross and carried my little flag with the 13 stars, and I got to share and speak and give a little piece of history about Betty Ross's what she did with that she was a part of the history and what she accomplished. And so in making the first United States of America flag. So that was pretty cool. And I love doing that because some kids really, really think that I'm actually the person, and they ask how old I am, whether I have a horse and a carriage, and they cannot believe that I don't drive a car. And, I love playing along because I think it's kind of funny and comical. But I really do enjoy going to the schools and reading to the kids. And so it's one of my favorite things that I enjoy doing throughout the year. And I just encourage all of our board members, if you can do that, do so, because it's just a really fun and neat experience.
Next year, you need to be Paul Revere.
Car Revere, okay. I'm sure it'll be something next year. I don't know exactly what it is, but
Anybody
I'll
else?
dress up as somebody.
Yes, Mr. Tidwell.
Dr. Sullivan, do we have an update on the Lee property?
Mr. Reed, Lee property?
It's been a while since that's been brought up. Just want to kind of catch up and see where we're at.
All the estate stuff's going along well. I would expect we have it closed within 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Sullivan.
Real quick, Dr. Martin and Mr. Runyon are at Budget and Finance. That's why they're not here. So I've been watching. I don't know where it is yet, but trying to watch both. So.
Anything else that anybody would like to bring up? Yes, Ms. Sharp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There was a student in Laverne High School that won the Skills USA lapel pin state design. She'll be going to Atlanta later this year. So you know the stores that you go into and you have the states and everything on them. She won the design. It's really cute. So stay tuned. There's going to be an art exhibit in Smyrna, middle April, that hopefully we're going to be able to spotlight her on it as well. So she's going to go to Atlanta to compete. Is that nationals? Yeah, so right here in Laverne, we have state pin.
That's all.
Move to adjourn.
Adjourned.
I don't know.